Go, motherfucker.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Laughing with Lana, the podcast that talks about everything and absolutely nothing all at the exact same time. I have a really, I don't think anyone would ever expect me to have the one and only Rollo from Access Vegas, the rational male in the building.
Howdy.
On my podcast.
Yeah.
What's up, my guy?
I know, you've been asking me to do this for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I know. And
we've been doing Access Vegas for a year, and I think I probably met you at least halfway through that year.
Yeah,
Maybe
no, I started here in November last year, and I think I met you guys around probably about January, February was when I met you guys, and yeah.
You've been on a show twice, at least.
Yes.
I can remember.
Yes. Okay, let's.
Is that where we
I'm
want to
like,
start?
wait.
So, okay, good.
Let's talk about it.
That.
Not even that, because I was gonna say, I'm like, okay, because in the beginning when I first met Rollo, I talk about you guys a lot because I genuinely, I love Rollo and I love Michael, but I hated you guys when I first met you guys. Not even met you because I didn't even give myself
I get
a
that
chance.
A lot.
I didn't even give myself a chance to meet them. All I did was edit his motherfucking podcast, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker's a cunt. I did not like you and Michael. He thinks what? Because everything they name off is what? A 30-year-old who is a stripper, OnlyFans girl. Everything that they name off is me. And I'm like, listen here, sir. Fuck you. So I tend to talk a lot of shit, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to it.
And he, because I know you called me out on it. You called me out on.
Oh, it was just you talking out your ass on some. When was it? Oh, it was a clip of a clip of a clip. Which, by the way, I should have cut you a little bit more slack on that because it's that's really easy to do right now because there's so many our attention span is so short these days.
Oh yeah, it is.
Because and not because of drugs, but well maybe it is. Maybe, hold on, let me backtrack.
Will the drugs actually expand?
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is we're so used to watching 45-second TikTok. A minute is too long now. 45-second TikTok videos.
True.
YouTube Shorts, Reels, Stories, whatever on Instagram. And so our attention, and then we're on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just so scatterbrained right now. And so it's real easy to manipulate people and perception just by the fact that all you're doing is just doing these really quick jump cut videos.
Little 30-second
second
clips.
And there's no context behind it. And even the clip itself has jump cuts inside the clip, right? Just trying to pull out stuff that doesn't jive with what they want you to think, right?
Right.
And so, but that's just how it is. And most of the time, when I go on shows now, me and Mike just got back from Miami and we seriously did, I did my show. I did Fresh and Fit probably 4 different times. I did Adam Sosnick. We did the Danza Project. Shout out to them. That was a great show.
Yay.
And, and anybody else who wants to, anybody randomly wants us to come on there. But we also have to be kind of careful of people because of the clips, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I was commenting on because that clip that you were talking about happened in May. On whatever podcast was the only appearance I've ever done on whatever
that was
podcast.
so long ago. That's old news, bitch.
I was watching this and I'm like, and the chick you were talking about is Farah, F-A-R-A or whatever her name was, and she.
Oh, I followed her.
The funniest thing in the world is and I wish I would have said something about this earlier, but she wears these glasses, right? These big kind of she looks like me. They call her Walmart Mia Khalifa, right? Because she kind of has that. She has that look, but she has those glasses. And halfway through the show, Brian, who's the host of the show, goes, "Are those prescription glasses? Because there's no frames. There's no lenses.
Are you serious? There's no glass in it?
There's no lenses in it. She's just wearing it for the look of wearing it." I'm like
I didn't know that.
And I know what the effect is. She wants to seem like she's this bookworm or she's a sexy librarian. Or
I'm dead.
Like that. I'm like, or to look more like Mia Khalifa because that's really kind of the archetype she was playing off of. And I'm like, because she has who doesn't have OnlyFans? I mean, she had OnlyFans, right? And what was funny is she kind of came. Remember how you say you hated us and everything else, and then you kind of came around to liking us. Same thing happened with her. She was one of Destiny's girls, and now she's gone through some sort of changes with liking guys that she wouldn't necessarily like, and it all came right after that one show that one TikTok video you mentioned in there, and so I'm like. should I say something? You know, I'm just like,
he called me ignorant, though. He did. He called me out.
Okay,
I'm not mad at it.
I say ignorant in the clinical sense. Okay, I'm not calling you stupid. There's a difference between stupid and ignorant. You know.
Well, it's like I feel like ignorant means like you kind of ignored the fact that you didn't watch the whole podcast.
Right.
Like,
See, stupid means you don't have like the mental facilities to actually like process what's going on. Like you just don't have the hardware, right? You're not stupid.
Yeah.
You're ignorant in the sense that you don't know what the context was or what the frame, what the whole thing was about.
Yeah.
And so when I say somebody's ignorant, like people go, "Oh, what do you mean I'm ignorant?" Like, well, you're ignorant of what was going on in there.
Believe me, I promise you on everything, I didn't take offense to you calling me ignorant. You're Rollo. Like,
it's okay. I call everyone.
Yeah, I'm like, you call everybody ignorant. But no, I just didn't because I'm like, maybe it was ignorant. And I just didn't remember what the fuck I said. And I was like, damn. But I did remember because I was like, well, he called me ignorant. Last thing I want to do is be ignorant and apologize in a text. So I was like, the first thing I did when I saw Rollo before Fresh and Fit pops, I was like, Rollo, listen, can we talk about it? Like, I don't hate you. I was like, I'm sorry if you thought I was ignorant, but I just want to apologize in person because I did apologize in person. But
I thought about that. I go, maybe I should have cut her a little bit of slack. She didn't know what we were there for, what we were doing. And then also that TikTok was from her trying to like build her brand.
You know, because I did that with Fresh and Fit. Like I cut my clip and it went viral. And I was like, I still got a lot of hate off of it because I have a lot of your ass kissing ass fans that are like, you are disrespecting their show. And I was like, I don't care. He was interrupting me.
My fans are a breed apart from like the new fans for Fresh and Fit right now.
Yeah.
It seems like they've gone through a lot of development, let's just say, because I've been part of their development, I guess, from the very beginning. So I was like one of the first people that they had on there to interview. And I knew Myron. He used to be part of our show, Rule Zero, which is still going on right now. But he used to be part of that group for a while. And the people that he knew, we were all tight with. We had him on the show. I've interviewed him like long before Fresh and Fit was a thing. Then he started the thing in Miami. And like I was the first person he called. Like him and Fresh said, we really want you to come out. Flew me out there, put me up at the Eccentric. And I was on with this guy named Hotep Jesus, who was a longtime friend of mine as well. He's actually, Hotep Jesus he's on CNN, he's on Alex, he was just on Alex.
Do you know who that is?
No, that's a dope ass name.
Yeah, but he's a cool, he'll be great in here actually. But so I went on with him, and then that was like sort of the beginning of my involvement with Fresh and Fit.
Right.
And here we are today, right? It's almost like 2.5, 3 years later.
Yeah. Fresh and Fit needs to be fucking canceled. I'm so glad they got demonetized.
Well, they got demonetized, but I think it was really through a series of really bad decisions on their part, like to bring people in. Like they were kind of got away from what they started on, what made them really like successful in the beginning.
I feel like everyone, no offense to you, but I feel like everyone who does Red Pill kind of veered off, completely went left from what Red Pill actually is.
Yeah. And by the way, that's part of a cycle that happens a lot. I made this prediction last year about we do on Rule Zero, which is the panel show I do on Saturdays. It's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Shout out.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is like Rule Zero started amongst a group of friends of mine because we wanted to sort of decentralize a panel show. And so we do a year-end show like on as close as we can get to like New Year's Eve every year. And last year I made the prediction. I said, you will not recognize the Manosphere Red Pill creator. You will not recognize the Manosphere by August of this year. And if anything, I was too late with that.
You
it was
were.
More like June or July.
Yeah, it really was.
And so a lot of what happens is when we get into an election cycle, everybody, like right now, like talking about intersectional dynamics and bitches ain't that, and and men fuck men, and all that stuff plays really well until Russia invades Ukraine, right?
Yes.
Or until, Hamas and Israel are going at each other. And when they have a ceasefire, they come back to the red pill, right? They start talking about, it's like, well, if it's a slow news week, then Pearl throws out some bullshit and then Matt Walsh, opines on that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like this inbred kind of self-sustaining ecosystem of bullshit, right? And what happens is when they got like the people who got into the red, they saw me taking off. They saw like Kevin Samuels was taking off. They saw Fresh and Fit were taking off. And so what do? Everybody else has something to say, or they become reactors to those things. So you got reactors, you got guys, people who are ideas guys, and you got like people who are salesmen, and there's all kinds of different archetypes. But what happens is when you get into an election cycle, everybody pivots to politics or the culture war, and that's exactly what I see happening. Like with Tim Pool, literally has changed the title of his show to the Culture War right now.
Oh God!
Because that's what that's
what it is.
Well, that's what it's going to play. That's what plays in an election cycle. And the same thing happened in 2020. Same thing happened in 2016. Everybody bails on the red pill, especially people who were never really about it. But they had to be about it because it was getting them clicks and click-through rate and everything else. And then they're like, "Oh, it's cool to hate on the red pill now. Fuck
Let's
those
hate
guys."
on red pill. Yeah, exactly.
You guys. Well, I was never really red pill. I was just red pill adjacent.
Got a bunch of fakes coming out.
Yeah. Well, and then so the reason why I say this is because I have outlasted like probably 4 cycles of these guys up to this point. And there's no way Rollo Tomassi is going to say, "Well, you know what? I'm not really about the red pill anyway." No one is going to believe that. So I just have to. Well, you just kind of hunker down and just go, "Okay, I'm just going to ride this out." And you know what? I'm just going to take names that you're a fake and you're a fuckwit.
Yeah.
So I just remember who was about it and who wasn't.
I was never about it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate the red pill stuff. But not, well, okay.
But you love it at the same time.
That's what I was going to say. Because I'm like,
a bitch you can't get away from that abusive boyfriend.
Why you do me like that and I'm Mexican, bro?
Okay, I love you. I love you no matter what, baby. Just keep coming back.
That's how I feel about you, because I'm like, fuck Rollo, bro. But then I'm like, damn it, when he comes in, I'm like, hey, Rollo. Fucking.
Hey, man, she sounds really angry. Yeah, she'll be back.
Well, no, because when the whole Fresh and Fit happened, I reached out to you, and I've told people that plenty of times. They're like, "Why would you even go on the show?" And I'm like, "Exposure, duh." Like,
why do any of those girls go on?
Exactly. I'm like, I don't understand why people make it seem like we don't know why these girls are going on there. We're going on there purely for exposure. We all have an agenda.
Brand management.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, and a lot of us are OnlyFans models. These guys always talk shit about OnlyFans models, but guess who subscribes? Those guys. So I went on there and I'm like, I know I didn't get shouted out per se, because what do they call it? I got White Castled. What is it called?
White Castled. No, it's not the hamburger.
What?
No, you got Frank Castled is what you got.
Frank Castle. Why does that? What is that?
Okay. Do you know? Are you familiar with the Marvel superhero character, the Punisher?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, you are. All right. Good dudes are. It's a great show. You should see it. What John Bernthal was like the Punisher in the Netflix version. It was really good,
Yes,
by the way.
I watched the movie. I never watched.
I love the Punisher. I thought it was great. Anyways, that's his superhero name. His real name is Frank Castle. And so it was a thing that, like, by the way, I was there for the very first castling of any girl
Really?
on Fresh and Fit. And because it happened actually before the show got started. I was on, these guys will back me up on this too. I was on the show and I was supposed to go on there with this one lawyer chick that was like psychologist lawyer chick who was supposed to like be a challenge for me, which she actually ended up loving me and agreeing with me later on. But she came in there with this chick who was just like really kind of like, snotty and had like really kind of standoffish when we got on there. And so it was just me, Myron, Fresh, and these 2 girls. One was the lawyer psychologist chick and her best friend or something like that. Her best friend started mouthing off to Myron, and Myron's like, "If you're going to be disrespectful of my show," because he was really concerned about the quality of the show, and he's like, "You can just get the fuck out of here." And so she did. She picked up and she left. This happened all off camera. Like and so we go through the show and everything else. And after the show, I said, Myron, you know what? We don't really make your show good is if you would have done that on camera and kicked her ass off of there, because then people would have thought that was like scandalous or something. Yeah. And that's lo and behold, was really kind of the inception of the Punisher, Frank canceling.
That's funny.
That was funny.
That's funny. Okay, so I want to know what your opinion is of me getting kicked off before we talk about it.
You shouldn't smoke so much weed. That's my my opinion of that.
But either way, weed or not, I'm forgetful.
I do know that. It seemed like did you smoke a blunt or something before you came on?
No, well, I smoke all the time. I have to. I smoked before. I smoked before this podcast, and I smoked a bong rip before. No, I didn't. But I smoked before this podcast, like on the way in here in my truck. Like,
I heard it keeps you young.
Well, it keeps me calm, which is the whole reason why I was.
See, I don't want to be calm.
No, well, you don't. I do because my thing is my not calm gets me in a lot of trouble. Like I've gotten fired. Like I've lost relationships. I lose a lot of things with my anger. So smoking weed has helped a lot.
You're Puerto Rican
and Mexican.
Yeah,
Both.
that follows.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I smoke
And
weed.
there's nothing bad about that. I'm just saying it follows.
There's a whole lot of bad about that. I'm Mexican.
When you talk on the phone, do you like gesticulate a lot, and do you like raise your voice like 10 decibels when you're on the phone?
Yeah. Fuck you mean?
My suggestion would have been like for that show, don't smoke weed and lean into that shit because that would have played a whole lot better.
Well, no, I can't not smoke weed.
Okay.
If I don't smoke weed, that like
what happens?
There's gonna be a court case. That's what's gonna happen.
There's gonna be a criminal suit. Is that
like
what happens?
no dead
I
ass.
don't want to see her mad. Like she's really,
Listen.
she's a really different person.
Listen. Okay.
So you're like the Hulk, but the weed like keeps you from turning.
You
into
have
the
no
Hulk?
idea. You have no idea. Weed has saved my life. Weed has saved a lot of people's lives. For me. From me. Because, okay, so the other day, like, it's been a financial, struggle lately, as of lately. And so...
Everybody, by the way.
Right. So, I'm not ashamed of it. I don't care. I'm going through a financial struggle, so I wasn't able to buy weed for, 2-3 days, right? So, I was like, my rent is more important. My bills are more important than my habit. So, left that alone. I wasn't smoking. There was this dude who was stalking me. He was like... Which, even though it was well-deserved, he was stalking me. He kept trying to get in touch with me.
I got that video.
You have that video? Cool. I'm going to clip it in right after I explain this content here. You want to see angry? I literally told this dude off because he went as far, he's been trying to get in touch with me. I blocked him. And he tried to get in touch with me via social media. I blocked him. So he went as far as to contact my modeling agent and book me personally for his clothing line.
Bruh.
Yeah, just to get in touch with me. And my agent went as far as to almost do a 3-way call with this man. And I was like, who is this person that you want to put me on a 3-way?
Did you know the guy personally? Did you have any relationship with him before?
I met him during a podcast that I was featured on. We exchanged phone numbers because he has a cartoon that he wants to release. And I have a voice.
He wanted to do a voiceover.
Yeah. Well, no, I asked if I could do the voiceover because I'm like, this is my ultimate dream from this podcast, from acting, from everything. My ultimate dream is to retire doing voice acting, and that's all I do in a fucking closet in my house, and I'm just
Cartoon Network, yeah.
Cartoon Network, anything. That is my ultimate goal. My ultimate dream is to be a voice actor. So I was like, let me get my foot in the door. Let's just try it. So I exchanged phone numbers. We were talking about flying me out to go do the voice acting, but then he started asking me if I would send him selfies and stuff like that. I knew he was rich. I already figured I can't work with you because you're already asking me for sexual favors and stuff like that. So I already know I can't work with you. Fuck it. I will send you a selfie for $100. So he started sending me money for selfies. So I started making money off of him like that. Yeah. So I never seen him again. I stopped contacting him in general because I'm like, if I'm not making money off of you, there's no point in me talking to you because you're not gonna put me on a voice acting gig because you're gonna want to fuck me at the end, and I'm not gonna work with someone who wants to fuck me. I'm sorry, I can't do that. So he ends up getting in touch with my modeling agent. That's when the whole thing, how he wouldn't stop trying to get in touch with me, and I was like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I even told him to leave me alone. He went as far as to contact the modeling agent. When I called him, I'm talking, this is 3 days no weed. 3 days no weed.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
She has a name. Her name is Patricia. I am a whole new person when I'm mad that my friends, I didn't name her. My friends named her Patricia.
Oh.
They were like, you are a complete different bitch. I cussed this dude out for 30 minutes? And he didn't hang up. Idiot. He did not hang up.
It.
He took
Probably
it.
recorded it and jacked off
Bro,
to it.
he took it like an OnlyFans model takes anal, bro. He took it royally deep and wouldn't hang up.
Times have you hit me up and I didn't hit you back? How many times did I hit you up? None. No, I don't give a fuck. You don't need to disrespect me for me not to want to fucking talk to you, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit whether you've disrespected me or not, bitch. I don't like you because you're a fucking creep. You're a fucking creep, bitch. Did I or did I not tell you I didn't want to fly out because I knew you wanted to fuck? Did I or did I not say that? Did I or did I not say that? Did I or did I not tell you that I did not want to fly out there because I knew all you wanted to do was fuck? Did I or did I not say that? Did I say that? Right.
And when I finally hung up on him, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. When I finally hung up, I felt like I had smoked 2-3 blunts back to back. I felt so good. I felt so good, Rollo. Like me yelling at him, like just letting out all of my anger, letting out all of the stress that I've had for like the last week on one person. Hung up and I was like, okay, well, I'm hungry.
No, I'm done.
Like
Yeah.
Smoke 2 blunts.
Like I literally smoked 2 blunts. And honestly, that's how it used to be before I started smoking weed. I would cuss somebody out and then I'd be cool for a week. And then I'd cuss somebody out and then I'd be cool for 3-4 days.
Bottle it up and then you let
I
it out.
bottle a lot of shit up and then let it out. But now I bottle it up, smoke, and now I'm like, I let it out by being like, fuck it. Not that big a deal.
Sometimes you gotta go hard on people though.
Well, okay, how about this then? Put me back on Fresh and Fit and I won't smoke.
Okay. You know,
And I'll do some coke. No,
you know what's funny is they would probably have you on again.
I'm down. I
They'd
know.
probably do it. I was gonna say, so anyway, as far as like the whole, by the way, I did not know they were gonna even be there until like 2 days before that. And we're scrambling. It was like a fire drill. We're scrambling to find, okay, who are we going to put on the show? Because we had to cancel, because we had like Ross Jeffries, we had some other people like that wanted to be on the show. We're like, no, sorry, we can't have you on this week. We have Fresh and Fit coming in. So
Why are they so
we drop
important?
everything. Well, I mean, first of all, they're good friends of mine, so I'm willing to do that for them because they've done that for me. And
I'm judging you now that you're friends with them.
I have been friends with them for a long time, and you got to remember that the Fresh and Fit that you see on the show is not the Fresh and Fit that you see off the show.
That's not okay. So why is he so unpleasant in person? Because Myron wasn't very nice in person, and I've met him twice because I was here the first time he was here.
Okay, I can talk about Fresh and Myron are 2 different individuals. Okay, Fresh, everybody underestimates Fresh. They think he's stupid. They think he's just like there for yucks, like he's comic relief or something. Fresh is like one of the most brilliant, like networking guys. Like when it comes to like networking, when it comes to like interactions with people, both of these guys don't drink. They don't do drugs. They don't do anything. They're straight as an arrow. Okay. Fresh will be at the club, and you know why he goes to the club? Same reason I go to the club, so I can network. So because that's where everybody's at, and that's where I can make connections. That's exactly what Fresh does too.
But that's where the girls that you guys talk trash about are at, not the girls that you guys necessarily.
Hold that thought for a second about talking trash about the girls, because I want to get back to that point because I think that's important. As far as Myron is concerned, remember that Myron has been doing this for quite some time, and I think that people think that Myron and Fresh deliberately cherry pick these girls off the street just randomly. They either scoop them up off the streets of Brickell or else they're like hand selecting them. Nothing could be further from the truth, okay? So when people say, well, those girls, they're hand selected so that they go on there and they're dumb and they want to make them look dumb. It's like, no, they don't. I have the stats that will show you all. This is the great thing about Fresh and Fit. They keep track of all the girls that they've had on there, what their education level is, how old they are, where they're from, what state they're from, what country they're from, if they're from out of the country. And so they have a very detailed Excel spreadsheet of all the girls. Well, no, it's not because well, think about it though. They're not even doing it. They have guys that will do it for them because what are the first questions that they ask on the show? Like, how old are you? What's your highest level of education? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. To get to know you, right? So that's part of every single show. So it's not like stalking, but it's like you can keep track of all the girls that are on there just by the first questions that they ask right out the gate. So when you go and you look at where they're from all walks of life. They've had girls on there as young as 18 all the way up to like 42 or 43. Right. Okay. So there's a very broad demographic, and I don't think people really appreciate that enough because they'll catch. Remember,
can I interrupt you?
Yeah, go ahead.
But the girls that are between 18 and 42, how can you consider those traditional women if that's not a tradition? Like, why don't
they're not traditional? Then some of them
why
are.
Why don't you talk to the women who are like in their 40s to like 70?
Okay. Would you watch that show?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's already a show. It's called Dr. Phil.
And Dr.
That's
Phil is
pretty
a
much
lot more
it, yeah,
successful
yeah.
than Fresh and
Well,
Fit.
only because he's been around for 21 some odd years, and he had
But he
Oprah
was-
bankroll. I've been on Dr. Phil. I've met him face to face. I
That's
know.
what I'm
you know.
saying. So like he has
Well, see,
legitimate people,
so-
not big bimbos
so
with
that's
fake
the first,
boobs. Excuse me.
That's the first. Okay, so but see, seriously, I mean, that's why people watch your show because they want to see your tits. Okay, at least that's the draw that draws them in, right? So people have said this from the day we started doing Access Vegas. Why don't you bring some normal girls in there? All these girls have Kim Kardashian lips and they've got Brazilian butt lips and they've all got, fake tits and everything like that. Well, they're also plastic and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I did this from day one. I said, send me some pictures of what you think a normal girl looks like. I'm still waiting.
No,
or a
but
year later,
can
I'm still waiting.
Can I have a special request? Can you guys interview?
We should do that show though.
What?
with women who are like over 40 to like
If you guys
60.
do a show between women who are between 40 and 70, that would be great. But also do a show where you have high value, successful men's girlfriends on there and talk to them, not single women.
Probably do that. Mike knows enough of them that we can probably
That's
do
what
that.
I know, and talk to them and see what are their values and how do they carry themselves. And
I would say that a lot of those. See, here's the thing. The problem is like when you ask a woman who's like say 35 years old. Let's just say she's with a very successful guy. Maybe she's married. Maybe she's pushing 40. Okay.
Yeah.
The answers you're going to get from her are not going to be the same answers you would have gotten had you asked her when she was 20 years old.
that's the point.
So yeah, I understand that. But the thing is like, and the point being is that there's a qualifiable difference in what that woman's looking for, what she's capable of like attracting from say 23 until she's 33 till
Not
she's 40.
doing something that she's like. How did she get her husband? Ask
the question, like dig in and say, how did you get this guy?
Not what do you find in a man? What do you want? How much does he have to make? Don't ask the typical questions
but ask
that you
like
guys
what
ask.
the process was to get the guy. Is that what you're saying?
Not the process. Just how did you meet your husband and how did you keep him? That's it. Not the process.
See, the problem with that is like
there's no problem with that.
There is a problem with it because what will happen is if that woman is with a high value guy and she has a history of getting with guys who are like Chippendales dancers and bartenders and whatever else.
That's still a what if.
No, I'm just saying. But here's the problem: is
But
you're going to
that's
have
still
to.
a what if that you're not allowing to be on the show.
No, I'm saying we're not allowing. We'll allow them. We've had let's say we had Jamie Villamore on. We've had Jamie Lynn's been on. We've had what's the girl's name? Who's I forget her name. She was a pro wrestler. Oh, and then the Playboy model girl who's like she's in her 40s. She's like 44 years old, and she's married now to a very successful attorney or lawyer here in Vegas, right?
So a hoe gets a lawyer, a high value, successful man.
Yeah, because of the process. In fact, I had the conversation with her. I said, "Did you find different guys attractive before you found this guy?" She said, "Yeah, she used to be into gym bros, right? Because she was a gym rat herself, right? She wanted to be in there, and that's what she was about. And then later on, when she was sort of getting into her like mid 30s or so, still a playboy, still very attractive. I'm not gonna say she's hit the wall physically, but realizes like, you know what? I need some guy for the long term. The guy that she's with would never like that guy wouldn't. He would have to be a lawyer to get past the fact that she only dated guys who were like very, very physically attractive guys for a while. What I'm saying is, not many, like she's an exception, but not many women want to discuss that because they got with that guy and they don't want their lawyer boyfriend getting any of the wrong ideas that she's not really into him as much as she was into the guys that came before. So it's usually kind of like a situation of don't ask, don't tell. And that, I mean, it makes for great content. Don't get me wrong.
I'm gonna have these bitches on my fucking podcast and be like, how the fuck did you get your...
So, but let me
How you get your dude?
Let me see if I can clarify this. Are you looking for high value dude and you want to see how they did it?
No.
So you can repeat the process?
No, I'm trying to prove you guys not wrong, but just prove that everything that you guys say is not necessarily fact.
Well, what do you think we say?
Well, because you guys make it seem like women, in order, like all women want a man to make this much money, that they just want to be lazy and be taken care of, and like women are date up and men date down, all that bullshit. When that's not that's not always true.
I think it just depends on who you're talking to, because I don't necessarily would necessarily agree with that. And I think a lot of people like think that like just because.
So you've never said any of those things?
I don't call women like bitches and hoes or anything like
but
that.
Myron does.
Yeah, Myron does. But again, when you were asking me like, how come he's so mean, afterwards.
In person.
And the thing is that he has gone through, like, think about all the women that he's had to deal with for over the last like almost 3 years now. And he has a very low threshold for his tolerance for dealing with women, because he has to deal with them on a nightly basis. So it just like, I think in some ways he's kind of like standoffish for sure, but he's kind of like he has a very low level of tolerance when it comes to bullshit from women. And if it sounds like, I mean, she could be, she's not education, but like a low level of tolerance for bullshit. And, and by the way, I should also point out that like that's something I've seen develop in him over the last, like, say, almost 3 years, because I can remember a time when we were having much different conversations back in, like, say, 2020 on panel shows that we were doing, and now it's like
the same
he's
question
like,
over
I don't
and
have
over
the
and over and over and over and over. He has no new content.
Well, he does, but the thing is that the content is always self-perpetuating, because the girls that come on there always have the same answers. So when a woman comes on and challenges him, it's usually like, what's funny is I think he has less patience with women who agree with him than he does with women who don't agree with him, because when they do, it's kind of like there's no content there. Like like I've had like Torsha, I was telling about Torsha. Torsha's been on the show for Tiffany's been on the show. Tiffany was on Adam Sosnick's show with me. She's been on our shows a few times. I love Tiffany, but the problem is she agrees, and she's very agreeable, and she's on board with all this stuff, and doesn't provide any conflict.
Right.
And that's what pretty much every show, from Dr. Phil to Maury Povich to Oprah to anybody else, it all thrives on conflict. So they're always trying to, like, in some way, like, sort of poke the bear in some way to get
Can
to
I ask
get it
a
going.
question? So if he doesn't have a tolerance for women, because he sure as fuck doesn't talk to men the way he talks to women.
No, not at all. Well, you got to remember that, like,
he's a pussy.
I don't know if he's a pussy, but I think it's just like, what is your utility?
What was his utility?
I kind of have a problem with that,
What was
too, by the
his
way.
utility when he told Michael Sartain that he couldn't live stream the podcast?
That was really logistics at that point, because you got to remember they're demonetized, right? So I was live streaming on my channel and their channel at the same time. We kill my channel after about an hour and a half, and then we just stay on theirs. I couldn't monetize that stream. You know why? Because they have an exclusive contract with Rumble. So what happens is when they go and they live stream, they're live streaming to Rumble, and then there's just like a simulcast to their YouTube, right?
So they're able to come in here and just take over the studio and your show because they are who they are.
More or less, because they've got a higher viewer count. They've got a higher. But here's the thing: I didn't know that was happening at that time. To be honest with you, because
no one did, because Michael didn't even know that was
Mike
happening.
didn't know either. So, here's how we found out. Is when I am trying to monetize my stream that was also being simulcast at that same time, I get a copyright strike from Rumble saying that I can't use my own content. I'm on the show, right? Saying that I can't use it because Rumble has a default setting that says if they were trying to use anything that's on Rumble, because they have an exclusive deal with Fresh and Fit, that it's already copyrighted through Rumble. So
then why
I had to jump through all these
show?
First of all, I didn't know they were coming until 2 days before, but the reason we bring them on the shows, first of all, they're friends of ours. And I've been doing stuff with them for a long time. And it's also, the thing is like, this is Access Vegas. Okay. Yeah. There are a lot of other shows. There's Whatever Podcast. There's Pearls, whatever the fuck it is. There's Purple Pill Podcast. God knows what. I mean, there's a lot of people who are come-ups in this thing. And in a sense, we've only been around for a year, and we only do it like every other week. So we're not doing it every single day. And we have I don't say a partnership, because we don't just a handshake deal.
Yeah, it's just
but
your friends.
We go on there, and we can go on their show like we did this week.
This weekend,
we went on their show this time. And they're like, here's Mike and Rollo from Access Vegas. So they're buffing us out. We buff them out. So it's kind of like a back and forth. Same thing, by the way, happens with Adam Sosnick and Valuetainment and the Danza Project, too. So it's not just exclusive to Fresh and Fit, But when we have sort of these partnerships and these collabs, or we have like co-branding between the two of them, I'm always going to do it with Myron and Fresh because they do the same thing for us. So there's definitely a mutual mutual benefit to the two of us.
Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
And even if it wasn't, you got to remember I've got a 3-year history with these guys as well. And people always say, well, Rollo just makes all this money off of Fresh and Fit. Dude, I lose money going out there to do that because they're my friends and I want to go have a good conversation. And Myron, like when it's me and Myron, we have a good conversation.
Rollo loses money working with Myron?
Mm-hmm. No, seriously. But so people always say,
you don't gain money, and no one gains money working with Myron. I didn't gain no money. Well, nobody gains money working with Myron. No women gain money working with Myron.
So when I go on there and they plug the book or they plug Access Vegas, then does that translate?
Oh yeah, he got a book, guys. Rationale Mail. If you guys want to read
5 of them.
Yeah. He got motherfuckers, and they're thick. They're more than 80 pages.
Have you read any?
Wait. Can we talk about the fact that Myron's book is only 80 pages long? Why? Is he just like he's illiterate?
No, he's not illiterate. There's a lot of guys that will throw out books like Rich Cooper.
He threw out an essay, bro. That's not a book.
Rich Cooper, same thing.
He threw out like a Costco menu. Like what the fuck? That was like the Olive Garden menu.
I can't say too much about that because I did the cover to that book. People don't know. I'm a graphic designer and art director by trade.
No, it's terrible. It's only 80 pages. Don't say you did that. No, well, okay. Rollo didn't work on that book.
Okay, do you know how many pages Old Man and the Sea is?
I never even heard of this book.
You don't? Ernest Hemingway, you ever heard of that author? No? I didn't think so.
No.
Well, okay, so here's the thing is, does a book have to be a certain page amount for it to be a legitimate book? Can a book of poetry be a legitimate book?
A book of poetry is a book of poetry. That was a book of literature that was trying to teach something.
Page count.
That was trying to teach men a whole thing.
I've had this conversation before.
That was like a textbook. That was supposed to be like a textbook of education. It's only 80 pages.
But was it?
I don't know.
What was this? Did you read it?
Fuck no.
Okay, so then
why would I read it?
So then you don't know.
I wasn't even the one who pointed that out to me. My brother did. My brother's like, you can't even write 80 pages of a fucking book.
Then you don't know what the intent of the book is, right? I'm not putting this on you because I have to have this conversation for people who haven't read my book, right. And then they pretend like they know everything that's in my book. I'm like, well,
I've never read your book.
Well, they'll throw shit at me and say, oh, what about this Iron Rule of Tomassi number 3 or number 7 or whatever? I'm like, did you read the book? No, I didn't. I just picked it up from somebody who was online somewhere. I'm like, why don't you read the fucking book? It's only been around for 10 fucking years. Why don't you go and read the fucking book?
I wouldn't read your book.
So the thing,
Myron's book.
I got you. I know that it's a little thick and it's a little cerebral for people, and I understand that.
Did you just do that?
What? What?
Did you just make it seem like I can't read a big book because I have no brain? What was that, Rollo?
Let me explain
do that again.
Okay, let me explain something else.
Do that again.
Fresh.
About to meet Patricia. Go ahead. Do that again. Because why?
I'm challenging
why would you say that on my podcast?
I'm
challenging me. What? I wouldn't read your book.
To read.
I read. I have a fucking list of books.
What do you read?
I read spiritual books. I don't read books like yours. I read books that are better health.
My fourth book is
psychology.
My fourth book is religion.
Better health books, self-care books. I read tarot books. Excuse me. I am one of those. I read astrology books. I am one of those people. You could call me stupid all you want, but just because I didn't read your book, I'm not cerebral.
No, I mean it's heady stuff. It's hard to get through. It's hard to get.
So then, why would you say that I can't read it?
I'm not saying you can't read it. I'm just saying it's cerebral. It's something that you have to sit there and you have to read the pages and then comprehend it.
So what are you saying?
Let me give you an example.
What are you saying? That I can or cannot do it?
I'm not saying you're illiterate. What I'm saying is that it's a thick book to read.
So
even Aaron,
are you trying to say I can't read a thick book? Is that what I'm? That's what I'm fucking asking you.
How thick are the books on tarot that you read?
Those aren't thick. Self-care books are thick.
Are they 80 pages?
They're more than 80 pages.
Okay,
for
so
fuck sure.
Is that a real book then?
That's a real book.
Okay.
That's not a real book. To you, it's not a real book.
Okay, so. The
to
content
you, it's not,
of the book.
In an opinion, no, wait, no, put it this way. No, put it this way. In an opinion, book, Myron's book isn't a real book in my opinion. Tarot books aren't real books in your opinion. It's an opinion, but I still read a fucking book. So don't call me not cerebral or say that I can't get through a fucking book. You have a red pill book. I wouldn't read your book because your book is a piece of shit right now because I don't like your content.
Then I challenge you.
I don't want to challenge your book. I'm not going to read your fucking book.
Okay, so in that case, you can't have a conversation conversation about the stuff that's in the book.
I never said anything about anything that was in your book. I was shouting out your book. I never said anything that was in your book. When did I quote anything that was in your book?
No, I'm not
When did I quote something that was in your book, Rollo? When did I quote something that was in your book?
Every time.
I didn't. Say it. I didn't. Say it. I didn't.
When you quote my book, when?
I didn't quote. That's my point. You just said I quoted your book. I didn't quote your fucking book.
No, but when you talk about concepts that are on these shows, you're talking about shit that's in my book, because pretty much everything that you see on
But I didn't talk about your book. I talked about the content. Those are clips.
Okay.
Just like you said in the beginning of this podcast. In the beginning of this podcast, you said people are clips. People take out clips. People take out clips and misconstrue that, right? Right? People take out clips and misconstrue it.
Sure.
People take out stuff out of your book and misconstrue it.
Sure.
I wouldn't read your fucking book either way. I don't like your content. I fuck with. Yeah. You and a person I fuck with. I wouldn't read your content. I wouldn't watch your podcast. I've been on your podcast for exposure. Everybody knows that. I've said that many times before. Mm-hmm. Would I read your book? No. Would I watch your podcast? No. It's the content. I do not like it. So you telling me that just because I don't like your content and I don't like the content that's in your book and telling me that I'm not smart because I wouldn't read your book is a piece of shit person. Why would you say that?
Do you think?
Why would you fucking say that?
I didn't fucking say that. I told you that it's cerebral, meaning that it's hard to get through, okay? I get this. Aaron Clary, for fuck's sake, says it's too thick. Everybody says you have to really be into it to get it. Same thing as if you handed me your tarot book, I would be like, what the fuck is this? Because I'm going to have to try to work my way through it out. Yeah, go through it and say, what the fuck why does this seem like it's like logic? Like, so am I going to pick up a book on tarot cards and try to like go and get through it? No. Am I going to watch am I going to watch podcasts on tarot cards and Brazilian power crystals? No, I'm probably not going to do that.
But you like me.
I do like you.
My point.
I like you a lot. Okay. But here's the thing is, if you're going to try, like, you don't see me going on any of these podcasts trying to, other than say that I think it's bullshit, but if you don't see me going on podcasts trying to explain numerology or tarot cards or chakras or any of this other stuff, I just try to speak knowledgeably about that, because I'd be stupid to do that. I don't have any like background in that. I also don't have any background in like political science. So I avoid I'll do it if it crosses over into intersectional dynamics, but I stay away from those topics, or like martial arts or fitness or whatever, because it would be foolish for me to go and do those things because I don't have the background in it. Why do you
invite women who don't have any history dating successful rich men to go on your show and talk about dating successful rich men?
We have had those women on there.
But you also have women that have never had that experience talking about.
Exactly. So we have a cross section of women
that are talking about something that they have absolutely no clue about.
Well, it just depends on what the purpose of the show is in the first place. Okay, so
Red Pill.
Well, okay, Red Pill covers. What do you think the Red Pill is? What do you think it covers? What do you think it's about?
Red Pill, to me, according to the way Glenn explained it to me, was a little better than how you or Michael explained it to me. Because the Red Pill was basically like a woman needs to be loyal to her man, keep her man happy. It's a like a monogamous relationship, which Red Pill doesn't really do, but it's like a monogamous relationship. A woman needs to stay with her man because of DNA and biological stuff. A man needs to be loyal to his woman, and men need to do A, B, and C, and then which A, B, and C is like protecting and providing and not really loyalty, but then women is loyalty and being fit and staying in the house and taking care of the house and taking care of the children. That's what the traditional Red Pill was supposed to be.
Okay. And then absolutely none of what you just said is a Red Pill.
So what's Red Pill?
Zero. Okay. The Red Pill is the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. That's it. Okay. So anytime you add something like here's what you should do, best practices, then you get into practice, then you get into belief, then you get into advice, then you get into like, here's my opinion. Okay. The Red Pill in its purest form is understanding, a praxeology is the study of human behavior, in that human behavior has a purpose, it has a function. There's a reason why we do what we do, okay? In this case, we're talking about intersexual dynamics. There is no good, there is no bad, there is no prescriptions, there is no best practices. It is an analysis of what we're doing as being behavior. Okay. So it's behavior. That's why Mike always sticks to like, evolutionary psychology,
yeah.
evo bio. So there's no, the reason I ask this is because when people want to tell me like what the red pill is, they usually like refer to something they see on Myron or Kevin Samuels or something
To
like
be
that.
honest, yeah.
I understand. And I understand that,
Yeah.
but that's another one of these sort of miscommunications,
Misconceptions of
because
it.
people don't understand that it's not about giving you advice. It's not about giving you 12 rules for life or something
Yeah.
like that. There's no template for the red pill. Here, do these things, then you'll be red pill and you'll live a better life. That's bullshit. And anybody telling you that is selling you something. They're selling you a program or a book or whatever that is that they're doing. Okay. Red pill in its purest form is just the understanding, and it's the data collection, and it's connecting dots. Don't get me wrong. It's like making correlations between all this understanding. So that's why when people ask me, what's the red pill? I can't tell them in 5 minutes or less. It's a college fucking course. Okay?
Oh, fuck.
It's
That I
red pill.
definitely wouldn't take because I'm
Yeah.
uneducated and non-cerebral.
Well, but think about, hear me out though. Think about this though. If I'm going to talk about human sexuality, or if I'm going to talk about women's nature and men's nature, I have to think of all the subtopics that I have to know. I have to know evolutionary psychology. I have to know evolutionary biology. I have to know endocrinology, your hormones and everything else. I have to know something about your brain, like neurology. Okay.
Right.
I have to know about what happened in the past, anthropology. I have to know what's happening right now, sociology. And so there's all these subfields, because if you think about everything that we do in human culture, or just being human to begin with, like intersexual dynamics crosses over into every aspect. Remember when I was telling you that I don't actually do shows like on politics per se, or religion or anything like that? I stay away from those because that's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
There are people that do a better job of that than I do. But if we're going to have a discussion of intersexual dynamics and religion, I wrote a full book on that. If we're going to talk about politics and how all politics are gender politics right now, I'm happy to talk about that. Right? If you want to talk about feminism, we can talk about social. We can talk about like social sciences. Yeah. So there's all of these crossovers that go all that permeate all of those other subcategories, I guess. So I was explaining this to the guys on the Danza project is I am a master. I'm a jack of all trades, and I'm a master of some. Okay, so when it's like, so if I have to know something about the human brain, I can go and like reference people who know something about it, or people will send me links, or they'll send me graphs or whatever, or stats and things like that. The things that we tend to focus on in social media right now are whatever like sort of plays to people's like pain points right now. So if I find a study that says that when women go through their menstrual cycle, that there are actually there's physical changes that happen in your brain when you go through your menstrual cycle. That's really dry stuff, right? People don't want to hear that on Fresh and Fit, right? But the thing is,
but women do. Yeah. We want to hear. I was like, no, that's why.
So have you heard this before? For instance, there's a real, people are, especially traditional conservatives, are coming down on like hormonal birth control right now, the pill, right? And how it makes women crazy and fat and bitchy and whatever.
It does.
And then part of that study is that when women are on the pill, they tend to be attracted to different guys than when they are off the pill. So they're saying that when a woman wants to get pregnant and she goes off the pill and she sees the guy that she married, she goes, why am I with this motherfucker, right? Because their brain changes, and the things that they're attracted to when they were on the pill are not what they're attracted to when they're off the pill. Now, that's all part of that brain study I just told you about. That part people will fucking listen to. But
that
the other part
but
if I get into like the neurochemistry of it, people are like, huh? Because it's, again, that's the cerebral part. Like, people don't want to fucking understand that stuff. They just want to stick, and they want to get into the stuff like, okay, tell me how to get laid. How do I get my dick wet? How do I use this information to get my dick wet?
Dead ass though. Oh my God. Because all these guys, I hate to say it, but like a lot of the guys that watch you guys are a lot of desperate dudes, bro.
Okay, so here's the thing is, like, those are the most vocal, most like visible dudes.
Yeah.
But then I have guys in my DMs every day saying, "Dude, you saved my life. I had a noose around my neck. I had one guy tell me this. He said he had set a date that he was going to commit suicide. Right? So I shouldn't have said that. He was going to self-delete, and that he was trying to within the before he got to that date, he was trying to set up so his life insurance was okay and that none of his his ex-wife and his kids wouldn't be inconvenienced by him offing himself, right?
That'd be my dumb ass if I'm I'm gonna just make sure no one's inconvenienced of my suicide.
So I had this guy, actually one of the first speaking engagements I did.
Yeah.
He told me, he says, he flew out just to meet me, and I was who was tearful, right? And he said, you know what? I says, my kids have a father today because I read your book, and I canceled my death date because of it. And he says, because now I have a different outlook and I know what was going on. And I essentially what I do is I don't tell people how to live their lives. I give them actionable information. So what he did was he took that actionable information, applied it to his life, decided he wanted to live, and now his kids have. And he was just very, and by the way, he's not the only one. I've got hundreds, well, if not thousands, of guys who've hit me up with a similar story, or they say that their lives are different because they use this information to better themselves.
Yeah.
So when people say, like you just said, and this is, I'm not blaming you because this is a common misperception because of idiots like Pearl and idiots like, because they throw out this bullshit.
No, yeah, you're
and people,
right, yeah.
And so they're or even Andrew Tate, Pearl, Kevin Samuels to a lesser degree, Myron and Fresh, whatever podcast they just think that it's just this moronic, over and over of the same show when they're doing it. That's because what they're doing is they're applying a practice to the praxeology that is the red pill.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the red pill, I'm talking about stats. I'm talking about intersexual dynamics. I'm talking about society, anthropology, all the
Like
I
you
said,
really
all that
studied
stuff.
about.
But the thing is that I'm not in the business of making men better men. Nor should I think anybody in the red pill should be. I'm in the business of having men, equipping men, educating men so that they can be better men themselves. Because if I was to say, I have 12 rules for life, or here, follow these 7 steps, and number 4 will surprise you, right?
Maybe not necessarily your content, but do you think that the red pill movement is hurting society?
See, I hate it when we use the term movement because I don't think it's a movement. I think the people who get into podcasts and they get into being influencers, okay? I hate the word influencer.
So do I.
Because
So do I.
because it goes up my neck every time I hear that. And it's because, who are you influencing, and what is the influence you're trying to insert into people's minds?
Yeah.
Because whenever, and here's my greatest problem, whenever I relate statistics or the latest study or something that I'm reading or something I'm learning myself, I'm still a student at all this too. We all will be.
Yeah.
That's the thing about praxeology. It's written in pencil, not
Even
in
an
pen.
expert is still a student.
Exactly. So when I put this out there, I put out a study, right? And people will say, you can't tell people information like data and statistics. You can't tell them hard objective truths or hard objective data without telling them how to feel about it. Because if you don't, they will hate you for it. Because they'll insert their own meaning and their own reason for you doing that in the first place.
What the fuck?
No, it's true.
No, I believe you, but it's it's just funny because I'm isn't it men that are always oh, my feelings. I'm oh, you and your little feelings. You guys are fucking pussies and all this bullshit. And then now that we're telling men how to feel.
No, I'm not trying to. That's what
No,
I'm
you're
saying.
not trying
I'm not
to,
trying
but-
to because what I'm saying is this: is that you can't tell them. Most people you can't tell them just hard up data.
You just can't tell them data.
No, because what they'll do is they'll say, "Why are you telling me this data? How are you trying to change my mind? What are you saying? I'm living wrong." They'll insert
so true.
They'll insert their own meaning into why you're even selling them in the first place. You can't just up and say, dude, here's a textbook, read the textbook. Why? Do you think I need to read this shit? Is that what you're saying? They will come up, they will make up whatever fucking reason they want. It's I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying, read this, look at this. This is I don't care if you throw it away, but I mean, just here's what I've been reading. And why don't you look? Well, in the introduction of all my books, I say this: I'm not a psychologist. I have a background in behavioral psychology. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a guru. I'm not a messiah. I'm not a fucking whatever. I'm slightly a rock star, but I'm not these things that you probably are expecting me to be. What I do is I connect dots. Okay, so I can't connect dots unless I have dots that connect in the first place, right? So I've got to be able to talk about those things, and then I make correlations between those dots. If you think I'm wrong about the connections I'm making between those dots, that's the first thing I want to hear. You can call me a son of a bitch and tell me to go fuck off and, oh, you got long hair. But you do whatever you fuck you want. But what I want to hear is, why do you think where am I wrong? When you do like algebra or calculus or trigonometry, whatever, when you're doing those higher order like algorithmic math, it's not enough that you got the right answer.
No.
Okay. The teacher wants to know show me
How
your
you got
work.
the
How
answer.
did you get there? Right.
And if you could go backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Can you reverse the solution? Yeah, the equation, right? So it's not enough to just get the right answer. I want you to show me how you came to it. You have to show your work, right? Because you could have just got the answer off the back of the book or whatever, right? So when I do that, people will take that. Will just take the problem is everybody will just take the answer, right? They think, oh, the red pill is just saying women are nothing but tricks and hoes, right? Like. No, when you start talking about stuff like, well, how come the red pill always beats up on these girls? Like, well, it doesn't, because that's not what it's about, right? And so when we talk about,
that's not what it's supposed to be about,
right?
But that's what it's become.
Pays the bills. Yes,
that's what it's become. Speaking of paying the bills, I need you to differentiate this comparison that I came up with. Okay. So you have an OnlyFans girl who is online with content that, I guess, what do you call that? Like, not, I guess, sexual content, but like risque content that people don't agree with.
Okay, let me
controversial content.
Let me clarify. Nudity?
Controversial content.
Nudity.
Nudity, we'll say.
Lingerie or? Sometimes
lingerie.
Is it a try-on haul?
Huh?
You know what a try-on haul is?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Try on haul is this. Maybe you want to try. No, it's on OnlyFans, but it was on YouTube too. It's like you get a hot girl, and what happens is, like, that's the whole premise of the show, is guys will send them like outfits to wear.
Oh, a try on haul. Oh,
yes,
I thought this was one word. Try on haul.
Try on haul.
I'm like, what is a try on haul?
Yeah, try on haul. Yeah, sorry.
So no. Okay, but no. I'm talking just controversial content, nudity or not.
Controversial in like politics or just in like.
Oh my God, controversial content, Rollo.
Sex. Okay, continue.
Controversial content of an OnlyFans model who is asking men for money.
Okay.
Compared to Fresh and Fit, who has controversial content who is asking men for money. What is the difference?
Okay, the difference is that. Okay, let me explain the mechanics of this first. When I went on, this is where I learned this, by the way. When I went on Dr. Phil, and I went on to it was in Paramount Studios. I go in there, everything is 100% like scripted. It's all set down to the minute, by the way. So when somebody in the audience is reading from their 3x5, it's they want to make it seem like it's organic. It's not. They're actually scripted. They're supposed to ask these questions at a certain time. We get to this part, we get to that part, everything is completely controlled for, because it's commercial television. There is what's known as the third wall, the fourth wall when you're in a theater, like there's between you and the audience. That exists in commercial television, and that's why commercial television will die. Okay? Because what people want today is they want what I call engagement media. Okay? So Myron and Fresh is engagement media. Technically,
so
this is
too.
So is OnlyFans. So is what? But okay. So those are like small scale engagement media, in my opinion, anyways. You have a super chat. People can, if they want to, like, give you money in comments, they can. If you have like products, if you have a book, if you have a T-shirt, if you have whatever it is, whatever your merches are,
like OnlyFans.
But here's the thing: is when you're in the middle of that show, the people in the chat want to feel like they're part of the show. They want to break down the third wall,
like
right?
OnlyFans.
So. That's why I asked you before we came on here. I said, is it going to be live or is it going to be a record? Right. Okay. So when you don't have it as live, it's no longer it's less engagement media, because you'll get comments on all this. But when it's not live, people don't feel like they can participate and drive the conversation or have the possibility of giving you a $25 super chat and saying, hey, ask them this, right? And it doesn't have to be like about the girls. It could be about anything. It could be politics, whatever.
What's the difference?
So. Well, we have to look at the different varieties of engagement media. OnlyFans is engagement media, but it's on a much more personal level, okay? Because those guys will go from OnlyFans girl to OnlyFans girl. They'll fall in love and they'll stay with that one girl, spend a small fortune trying to influence her life story, which is the narrative that's going on.
The guys do that on Fresh and Fit too.
Yeah, they do, but they're doing it by just. And you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying they do it on a smaller scale than OnlyFans girls would be doing it, because OnlyFans girls live it every single day. Myron and Fresh do it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
A lot of them do.
And then they go, even if they aren't, what they're doing is that they're only engaged in the course of whatever that show is. Okay, so if they have 10 girls on there and the topic is this or whatever, they're there for whatever amount of time that they're doing it. And they have to, first of all, they have to have some sort of take that they can do it. Remember when they got demonetized? And everybody's like, oh man, I can't believe they got demonetized. It's because the fans, the people who watch it, their audience, they felt that perhaps that their involvement is going to be less because they won't be able to put super chats in and influence the course of the conversation. So the thing is it's different for guys when it comes to OnlyFans, but only marginally, by order of whatever their investment is in those girls, right? So you've got guys who you're on OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's a membership for you? They have to have a constant membership, right?
So when I was a cam girl, I used to sit in front of a camera and I used to ask men for money to answer their questions.
That's all you did?
And that's all I did.
And were you naked or something like that? Were you
a lot of the times, no.
Lingerie or something?
So the private messages you can, and they would pay you $10 a minute. They would pay you $10 a minute so that you can take your clothes off, and that was in a private chat, and that was for me to take my clothes off and have a conversation with them.
Did you make more money off of those than you did off of of just answering questions?
No, I did. I made a lot more money doing the dick pic roasting, and I didn't have to take my clothes off for that.
See, now you're being creative.
Of course, I was very creative. So when I was a cam girl, I used to sit there with my lingerie on and I used to have conversations with the guys, and that's how I got very popular. And I actually got more popular when they used to send me dick pics and I used to roast them with my clothes on. But everybody's in the super chat. Everybody's in the chat sending me money because the funnier my joke was, the more they would tip.
I see. So it's about tips then. So it's essentially like super chats as well.
Essentially like super chats.
It's tips though, right?
Yeah.
But then you also have a membership. What is a membership for it? What's just starting, like the baseline?
There's no membership for it. Well,
or do you have a free one?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have free, but you're basically making money off of tips.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Like super chats.
Now you're not doing girl stuff, or you're not doing anything with guys or anything like that. It's just you just basically get naked. Sort of.
I only get naked in a private chat, and a lot of guys don't want to pay $10 a minute.
And on that note, it's blunt time.
But I just want to say before we get off, if you're a cam girl and you're an OnlyFans girl, it's the exact same thing as being on Fresh and Fit and being one of these guys that are asking for super chats and asking men for money, because you're essentially asking men for money, which is what I did too as a cam girl.
Did you?
Because a lot of your audience is what? Your audience is 98% men? No, 99% men actually.
Well, on my show?
Or on Access Vegas and Fresh and Fit.
You'd be correct. On my show, I have about 10%, 12% is
so
female.
90% is male that you're asking money from.
But here's the thing is, I don't ask. They go and they
same.
want. No, but
same.
Do you ask? You just said when you're on OnlyFans, you ask them for tips.
No, not necessarily. You're sitting there. The point, they know the point. Everybody knows the point.
What's the point?
They tip in order for me to be able to talk to them, question, answer their questions, engage. In order to engage. Do I ask them for money? Not necessarily. Not all the time. Sometimes I do.
So the same principle the same principle applies with Fresh and Fit. They don't ask. They don't ask for tips. But
men tip them like cam girls. I know.
I got that.
The comparison is correct. Just let me know I'm exactly.
It is correct. But
I'm correct. Fresh and Fit is as much of a bitch as OnlyFans. They are non-traditional, just like OnlyFans bitches. All the
That's
bitches
what you wanted me to come in
yes,
here and do.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
There you go. There's your moment.
Thank you.
All right. So here's the difference between those two: is the guys that are following you are gonna
perverts.
they're gonna off themselves if you don't pay attention to them after a while. They're gonna get overly invested in you. Maybe that's the same. We could say the same thing with some of those guys.
You don't think the guys are doing that on Fresh and
But
Fit? A lot of
but here's the point.
I have friends of myself that are from my elementary school that are so obsessed with the guys on Fresh and Fit that he literally saw me and like
wanted to know what they were like.
Oh my God, was like, oh my God, did you meet him? Did you touch his hand? Did you shake his hand? Oh my God, I love Myron. And this is a dude. This is a man.
You should, I remember.
Eric, send your brother this clip, bro. Send your brother, your brother's a Vince. You're a fucking bitch for liking Fresh and Fit, bro.
I'm going to tell you a story. Okay.
When
it was 2022. It would have been like right around May of 2022.
Okay.
I'm staying at the Hyatt Centric in Brickell, right? Everybody knows what that is anyway, so I'm not giving anything up. I'm going down to the deli down there. There's like a really nice restaurant deli that's down there. I'm there, and one of the kids, like they know me from Fresh and Fit, right? And even the front desk people call me Rollo, right? So I'm there, and this kid comes up to me, and the kid's like probably like 16 or 17. He's like, he's working at this thing, and he goes, "Hey, you're on Fresh and Fit, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What's Tate like?" Like he knew I was, but the first question out of his mouth was because he'd seen me on the show that I did in December with Tate and the rest of the guys, right? And that was the first thing he said. He's like, "What's Tate like?" Yeah. I was like, and that was the first time I was over like, "Why are you asking me about Tate?" Kind of thing, because he was at that point he was still a come up, and people were really, really invested in it. They're invested in Myron. They were same thing. I could say the same thing with Kevin Samuels. There's little micro sort of, for lack of a better term, micro cults of personality. Okay, and that's really all it is. They want to know more about because they're these like influencers are the rock stars right now. Yeah, there's no rock stars anymore. There's influencers now. Ugh. There's what's that dumb bitch?
All of them TikTokers?
No, the chick, forget her name. Anyways, but like even the girls who are like, say, the top 1%ers, they're celebrities for just being on OnlyFans. And I'm not going to disagree with you that that format of show, like if you're doing like live streams, what I do, live streams, it is engagement media for sure. I'm saying OnlyFans is a different variety of the same engagement media.
But it's the same thing.
Same thing. You know what else is the same thing? Here's the same thing. When Logan Paul goes and proposes to that chick who's slept with, what's her fucking name?
That girl, we all know that story.
Has slept with a million guys. And so you've got this one event that's going on, like the same thing with like Adam 22 and Lena the Plug. Yeah. Okay, you have this event. It's either the fight with Logan Paul or it's the porn movie that it's going to be released 2 weeks from now. Right. And so what happens is you've got guys who know how to game the system when it comes to engagement media. Right. Tate was very good at that as well. So what happens is you got these guys, and you know that they want to be a part of whatever the narrative is. His narrative is, hey, this big black dude is going to fuck my wife in 2 weeks, and now I'm going to feel like so what does he do? He gets Destiny on and says, I don't know if I'm comfortable with it. Hey, most notorious cuck on planet Earth, what do you think? Am I insecure in my masculinity? It's bullshit. He knows what's coming. It's content, but it's content that will get exponentially redone over. So many people, even Tucker Carlson, talking about, I can't believe that this is what's going on right now. Who would want to have their wife fucked by another guy? Like that kind of stuff. And if it snowballs into something bigger, imagine how much money they made just off of the premiere of that, because they had 2 weeks leading up to it. And why did they have such a big buzz? Because of engagement media. Right. Now you've got this entire story and this narrative where it's Lena the Plug or it's Logan Paul gets up to the fight and he fights Dylan, what's his name? And then you got the follow-up that comes after that, of course. But the build-up to it is all, and the build-up to he's doing it through engagement media, and the people who are reacting and responding to it, which is exactly what he wants to happen, are also doing it with what? With people in their super chats who want to feel like they're part of the narrative that's going on there as well. So it's not just Fresh and Fit is a bitch because they're just like OnlyFans. Well, if that's the case, Adam 22 is a bitch because
I meant everybody. No, I meant all
everybody.
of them. I meant every single person that talks about OnlyFans girls.
We're all prostitutes.
Yeah. We're all like online whores.
We're all cheap hookers.
We're all cheap hookers.
Well, remember we brought up Hotep Jesus a little while ago. Hotep Jesus told me this one time, like, because he loves it when like people throw around the term grifter. He has a, in fact, I presented it one. He does an award show at the end of the year. It's called the Grifties.
What is the grifter?
It's like whoever was a grifter's kind of like the guy who just he's about brand, and all he does is like want to like he's not about it. He just wants to like promote a book or promote a product or like grifting is what are you willing to do to sell yourself out to get to do this. So, but what he told me this is that everyone you, me, everyone we know, particularly in this space, every one of us is a grifter. I'll be the first one to say I'm a grifter too. So is everyone else. The difference is, what do you give back?
Yeah.
What do you give back to the people if you're going to, grifting is about taking, right?
Yeah.
What do you give back? And the difference is that I give back guys actionable information and education so that they can improve their lives. That's a much different principle than if I'm just trying to be on the hustle and be on the sly and all I'm about is just like, I'm all brand. And anything that comes out of my mouth is always on brand because I can't think in any other way. Like we were saying before, like when you meet Myron after the show or something, like, why is he so mean? What is it like? Well, at the very least, he's staying consistent. Most people don't because they're one person, whatever online persona that they make. Yeah, I try. Well, no, for instance, like when I talk to you at the shows and everything, like when I am on Fresh and Fit or Adam Sosnick or I'm doing my show or whatever, I'm delivering information. I'm trying to be somewhat entertaining. I hope I'm being somewhat entertaining, right? But when I'm done with that, like I'll go play guitar in my band. I'll go and play.
You're nice. Outside of your,
Chase got a show come.
Oh, okay.
For us.
Anyways, I can make the separation between brand, persona, and like who I am.
You're trying. I know you're giving it a good. You're giving it a good run. I know you're trying to separate the two, but it's so much similar. And I'm like, you guys need to stop talking about OnlyFans girls. You guys are OnlyFans girls and cam girls yourself.
Well,
that's it. That's it. Okay, white angle, guys. White angle.
Boobies. Hey, boobies.
I love you guys. Until next week. Bye.
Boobies and biceps.